Silipa na nomusula na nomu ngaunai nandarovital nonikua. Thank you so much for giving up your time from your busy schedule to have this special Talanoa on my platform on Talanoa with Dr T. To kickstart our Talanoa today, Silipa, would you be able to introduce yourself to the audience who are listening to our conversation?
VINAKA, Nimbula VINAKA. First of all, thank you, Dr. T, for this opportunity to just come and have this Talanoa session with you and with your wider audience all over the globe. I believe it is invaluable to take time out and just Talanoa every now and then. The exchange of experiences will always either encourage and lift one another up in one way or other. And once again, I thank you for this opportunity that you've given to me to share a bit about the experiences that I've had. As for myself, my name is Silipa Tagicaki. I'm from Kadavu, village Dravuwalu in Naceva. Vasui Mavana, Vanua Balavu. I'm married. I was married. My husband passed on in 2017. I was married to Mika Kubuabola, who hailed from Somosomo, Taveuni. I have two children. They're teenagers now, 18 and 16 years, respectively. So you can say that, yes, I'm a single mom at the moment. I'm currently serving in the Navy Division of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces as their policy and legal advisor. I'm one of the 31 females or women that are here now in the Fiji Navy. Yes, I think that's about it in terms of my personal information for now.
VINAKA. And in terms of your academic achievements, going back to your primary school and your secondary school and your journey into tertiary, would you like to share that journey and what inspired you along the way?
VINAKA. My primary education was, first of all, I began at Holy Trinity Anglican School. And then because my dad was serving in the Fiji police force at the time, every now and then they would be required to be transferred to other parts of Fiji. So when he was transferred to Totoka, I attended Jasper Williams Primary School and then progressed on to Jasper Williams High School. In my primary and secondary years, I suppose the influences that I got from those years, primary and secondary years, is really my Christian values, Christian teachings, because the school that I attended is predominantly a Christian school. It's a Methodist school. And I was blessed to have teachers as mentors, and also head teacher in the primary school and the principal in the secondary school as very firm disciplinarians. And those are some of the values I believe that has remained in me and how I have been able to maneuver myself through to the tertiary years at USB and then onward to law school at the University of Tasmania at Hobart campus, and then onward to my master's program at the International Maritime Law Institute in Malta. The very fundamental principles of hard work, of perseverance, of respect for all people, and of course, first and foremost, is faith and hope and trust in God.
Those are wonderful words of encouragement, particularly for our young ones and our young women listening in, to have those core values that will take you very far in this life. VINAKA Silipa, I also understand that you lived briefly or maybe a number of years overseas in Aotearoa and also in the Middle East. Would you like to share that particular journey, and if there were some challenges along the way, how did you overcome those challenges?
Yes, thank you. We migrated to New Zealand initially and spent 5 years there. The decision to migrate was really for our children. We wanted to expose our children to a bit more of the world and the challenges, the variety that there is out there in the globe. So the challenges that we faced as a family in New Zealand, one was being away from our family, extended family, that is, from my parents, my children's grandparents, my siblings, and so on and so forth. The lifestyle in New Zealand was such that just concentrated on our nuclear family. There was no family support as such. So what happened was I chose to stay home full-time to look after our children, my 2 children, while my husband pursued his dream. He was an engineer by profession. We did that for 5 years. But even while staying home, I was blessed to have been engaged to undertake a consultancy work for the Fiji Maritime Safety Authority. That was another exciting opportunity for me. So I continued to be engaged in the developments of maritime law policy here in Fiji, whilst in Auckland, but at the same time have the luxury of staying home and looking after my children. The challenge for me there was just being away from my family. We moved across to Dubai and spent 4 years there. The challenge we found there was the weather, really. Whilst New Zealand was extremely cold for us in winter, Dubai in the United Arabs is extremely hot. I mean, all throughout the year. Even the winter it's okay, but it's just a very harsh environment in the Arabs. However, how we managed that was just have to be content, be grateful with what we had. We were blessed to have accommodation that had good air-conditioned facilities. We were also blessed to have a close-knit, small group of Fijian families in Dubai. And for me personally, when my late husband was traveling overseas for most of the time, I had a close group of women, a small group of women that I would meet regularly with during the week while my kids were in school, and when I've done with all my domestic work, we would meet to pray for our children and our husbands. We would meet just over coffee and to share about our struggles and experiences, and to provide advice to one another. So even though there were challenges, looking back now, I saw that God always made a way out for us whilst we were overseas. In New Zealand, if I can just go back, because my children, when in New Zealand, they were in their formative years. And before we moved to New Zealand, I must say that I was very ambitious. I was career driven. And I would basically be working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on a daily basis. So when we moved across to New Zealand, it was a huge turnaround in my lifestyle, because I then had the opportunity to know my children for firstly, and secondly, to be given the opportunity to impart to them fundamental values that they do carry with them now. And these values are really biblical based, because I would just have to rely back on the Word of God in our daily discussions. Whenever I need to discipline them, that's the only thing. That's the only way I can justify the discipline that I would impose on them. And looking back, even though we were far away from family, whilst in New Zealand, God enabled that situation to turn it around for our good, to enable me to impart and invest in my children these fundamental values, principles of respect, of love, of God, being God-fearing, perseverance. And it's something that I believe that has helped both my children since the passing of their dad 3 years ago. And I hope and pray that these are things that they will carry with them into their own family.
Absolutely. VINAKA, Silipa. I like the statement you made that it was a luxury, to stay home and
Yes.
look after your children. I'm sure there will be mothers listening in to this conversation. Would you like just to add a little bit more and some advice to our stay-home moms in terms of their important role of looking after their children?
Yes, sure. I say it's a luxury because, number one, time can never be redeemed. Our children, they grow up very fast, and we may just miss that critical time in their life to invest and impart. The critical time in their life is when they are yearning to absorb, they are exploring the world, they're exploring life. And those are really mainly during their formative years. And I say it's a luxury to be a homestay mom because we get to have the opportunity to invest into our children's lives in the hope that they will grow up to be adults that are responsible, that are God-fearing, adults that will contribute greatly not only to the extended family, not only to the koro, not only to the country, but to the region and the world at large. And we'll also be investing in our children who will eventually turn out to be adults that, who knows, may be leaders in our nation. So never take our calling as housewives or full-time mothers for granted. The other luxury that I found was the time to also invest in other women's lives. We have time to visit other mothers, have time to encourage other women who may be single mothers and in need of encouragement, in need of help, in need of prayers, really. Because that was something that I enjoyed whilst in New Zealand and also in Dubai, the opportunity to pray with other women. And it would be so exciting because every other time we'd meet up again, my girlfriends would go, wow, my prayers were answered. You know how we prayed for this? Yes, it was answered. And we all celebrate together. Those are the little victories. They may be little, but they are significant in the lives of the other women that we invest in. I normally refer to them as my girlfriends. The other luxury is we have the opportunity to also pursue our passion. Being a homestay mom or a full-time housewife does not mean that we cannot study, that we cannot pursue our passion. If our passion is in early childhood, go for the courses, do one unit at a time. There's no need to rush, but there's always the need to pursue your passion. While we're young, while we have good health, while we have the time. And as a full-time housewife, yes, we have the time. While we have the time, pursue our passion. Even if you want to be a lawyer, as a full-time housewife, yes, of course, nothing is impossible. As long as you have the passion, and if you're married, if you're with your husband, as long as he supports your passion in wanting to pursue further studies, why not? And I would encourage you to do that. For me, for an example, even though I was a full-time housewife, looking after my kids and supporting my husband in his dream with his work, I was also doing consultancy work. He supported me with that. I also was blessed to have a group of close friends, girlfriends, that enjoyed to meet together and pray and encourage one another, to the extent that we would get our children to meet in the weekends for fellowship. So, it grew. It grew from a small group of women who would just love to meet and pray for their husbands and their children into weekend fellowships, getting our teenagers to meet together and learn action songs and talk about God. And this was in Dubai. So just before my husband passed away, that was actually what God was orchestrating through our small family. And my children and I returned in 2017.
Wow, that's amazing, Silipa. And I know for sure our audience will be so empowered, by learning what you have done with your other fellow sisters. And I think for our mothers who are listening in, if you are staying home and you have that dream, there's always hope. And keep your dreams alive, because one day it will come to fruition. And I think you raised the point of talking to their husbands and having that family support and communication, I'm sure, between the spouses. That's really, really wonderful. Thank you for that. And you've highlighted some of the the blessings of living in Aotearoa and living in Dubai. What are the blessings with you and your dear husband and your children have seen overall? Now that you've made it full circle, coming back to beautiful Fiji, any other blessings? Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that question. First and foremost, the blessing to be alive and well. I've just come through cancer. For me personally. Looking back, it is a blessing to be given the breath of life, and that is something that we take for granted. I mentioned I was a very ambitious, career-driven woman way back, even before I was married. But then, moved on to being a housewife, a full-time mother. And thought that everything would be just the same. And then returned, my husband passed on, returned to Fiji, back now to serving the nation through the Fiji Navy. And then cancer hit me. And I realized, okay, it's now time for me to be grateful. To be grateful for the breath of life. To be grateful for the opportunity to do good, to make a change, a good change in my children's lives, first and foremost, in my family, in the nation, in the region and the world, with whatever platform God opens up for me. So that's the first blessing. And I'm sure that my husband, late husband, would agree with me. That is the first blessing for us. And of course, my children. When I was diagnosed with cancer, it hit them badly because they had just lost their Ratu 3 years ago. And I saw the change in them, but they went through the journey with me. And now that I'm back at work, I could see a huge gratitude they carry around with them, grateful hearts they carry around with them because of that experience. So the blessing to be alive and well. Secondly, the blessing of having children. For us parents that may be listening in today, take our children slowly. If you have teenagers, take them slowly, walk them slowly through life. If they have tantrums, let them have tantrums. Just pray for them, because only God can change the tantrums into rejoicing. If they have boy and girl issues, have stern conversations with them, but pray for them. And I have seen that prayer does work. It changes our teenagers. God answers prayers. The children are our blessing because they are an opportunity for us as parents to leave behind a legacy for the good for this world, for the good for our families, the Vanua, the nation, the region, and the world. So why not take hold of that blessing that God has given us, who are our children, and use it in that regard. Bring them up with the basic and fundamental values of respect, fundamental values of hard work, of God-fearing, and then I'm sure the sky will be the limit for our children. The other blessing that I would like to mention is the siblings, brothers and sisters, and of course parents and family support. They are a blessing. Without them, at least for my family, I would not be where I am now. I would not be having this interview right now. I would not be well right now, because my journey through cancer was with my family as well. They also that journey with me. They were with me 24/7. And I thank God for that blessing as well. Not forgetting my nieces and my nephews who drive me around, and I'm like sitting as
like a queen.
Like a queen. I didn't want to say that. But since you brought it out of me, yes, and I'm enjoying this season in my life. And last but not the least is I have the blessing of a career, and I'm sure my late husband will agree with me on this. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the Commander RFMF for allowing me to come back and serve in the Navy after being absent for quite a while because of the young family that I was raising. Korea, especially in the Navy, in maritime security and in the defense space, it's a real honor and a privilege to be in this particular field of expertise. Naka,
Silipa. You mentioned earlier about your, is it 33 women working in the
31.
31.
31, yes.
How do you view, your role, as a role model and also as a leader within the Fiji Navy in terms of, looking after them, but also I was thinking of younger ones who may be, wanting to pursue a career in the Navy. What would be some of your words of encouragement to them?
VINAKA, first of all, to the current serving women, since I'm the most senior female officer in the Navy at the moment, leadership is expected. It comes with a rank, so I do play a role in that. Whenever they have particular issues that they are unable to raise with their immediate superiors for personal reasons of some sort, that's where they come to. That's where I come in and try and assist them. When I see that there may be some need for some of our women to pull up their socks in some of the way that they may be carrying themselves, I also step in. So you can say that there is an expectation of me to lead by example as well. And it's not a difficult task for me. It's not a burden for me. It's actually a pleasure and a privilege. I guess in the position I'm in, I take it out as something similar to being a mother. I look at them as my daughters. You discipline them, you correct them, when they need to be, but you also help them when they need help. That's for the women that we now have in the Navy. For those young women or that may have an interest in having a career in the Navy, by all means, work hard in school. We accept people with Form 7 result, Form 7 pass, Form 7 passing their exams, and also you need to have the passion to serve your country. It has to be others, or it has to be the country before self. You have to have that passion to serve your country, really. The other thing is you have to have the right attitude. It is a place where teamwork is utmost. It is a place where obedience and respect, not only for those in superior ranks, but also with one another, is expected. The culture in the Navy, as it is part of the Fiji military forces, is such that you will be required to be on duty, even on the weekends and even at night. You may have to lose sleep. So those are the expectations. It may not be as luxurious as it may appear to be, but if you're a person that is passionate for your country, who is passionate for your country, then this is the place for you.
So, Silipa. And also, I think, I'm sure some of our viewers will remember your family through music. So I was, sort of thinking about it because, with your career and the journey you took in your academic life, there will be other young ones who may have really interesting interest in maybe dance or music or the arts. What would be some sort of kind of advice or sharing your musical family journey that most of us still remember from when we were little, and also I'm sure through the support of your parents?
Yes. Music is really it's a gift that we have been given by God, and I'm sure that most of us listening in today and watching the podcast right now have a gift. We've all been given a gift. For me and my family, it is still music. We were exposed to singing before the public at a very young age, and it's not simply just standing up and singing before the public. It's the hard work that happens behind the scenes, the constant training, the constant practice. My mom was a music teacher, and a good one too, I must say. And she was very particular with how not only how we sang, but how we pronounced the words and how we stood in front of the audience, how we, how our facial expressions, you name it. So you can just imagine the stress that we underwent behind the scenes before, the actual performance, if I can say that. But the behind the scenes experiences, looking back now, was really a training for us because we were taught perfection. We were taught the need to pay attention to detail. We were taught to, when you do something, you do it well. We were also taught to persevere because, we would have practices. Our generation, we never had social media, we never had TV. So after school, we either come back, have tea and play bunny, and then go and have shower and study. After that, now we sleep. And in the weekends, after we help mom cleaning up the house and outdoors as well, we had nothing else to do, so we practiced. We had a little keyboard, we had a guitar, and we'd practice. And it was just not, making music. Mom would be so particular with how we actually made the music. And we were blessed to have spiritual mentors like our Reverend at that time, Reverend Reuben, the Totoka Methodist Church, Indian circuit, but we attended the English service, who connected us to the producing company. And I think I was in class 8 when we did our first recording. It was a gospel album, and it was an exciting experience for us. I was in class 8, and my older siblings, Tupo and Sireli, they were in high school. So very exciting experience. The first album we did became very popular. We entered a national song contest. Wrote an original song. We won the national song contest. Again, very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah, and you know, rest is history. We still sing, but now it's more training our children to sing. They are now also taking part in church. My sister and I, we get invited every now and then to sing at small gatherings, and these are mainly gospel songs. We now see this gift that God has given us really as a platform for us to just minister to people's lives through music. So, you know, whatever gift that we've been given to anyone that's listening, you know, use it for the glory of God. And of course, a gift is not perfect as it is. It needs to be honed. It needs to be perfected through practice and training. And that journey is never easy, but the end result is always perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I mentioned the last time we spoke was in my last Talanoa with Dr T. I think 2 weeks ago we were talking about musicians, and so it was really amazing when people, you know, responding to my question as to who are the singers that you remember, and the names, you know, I think the Jimmy Subaidas, Melendi Muri, you know, all the names, and then the family name came up, you know, yes, the Tagicakis, yeah. So it was really nice that people, you know, still remember. I think someone even mentioned the name of a song, so I still have the comments. So that's what I do with all my Facebook Live. I always encourage my family not to take off the video because it's lovely to see everyone's comments and it jigs people's memories. So yeah, so that's really, really wonderful, Silipa. So to conclude our Talanoa today, so any other comments or any other advice that you may have thought about and we haven't covered that you want to share to our wonderful audience?
Yeah, I just want to thank you again, Dr. T, for this opportunity to have this Talanoa session with your wider audience all over the world. I guess from me, a last thing I would just like to share is just to encourage everybody out there that may be facing some sort of difficulties right now, especially with this pandemic that we're all going through all over the world. Never give up. Pray without ceasing. Our God is always faithful to answer our prayers. If we're going through financial difficulties, you know, our God provides. He always makes a way. It may be through another job opportunity, or it may be through a family friend, or even family, you know, popping in to visit and providing just what we need. If you're going through health problems, our God is still a healer. I'm an example to that, testimony to that. He's still a healer, he's still the same. If anyone's going through marital problems, you know, prayer changes things. He's still faithful. He's still the God who restores families and marriages. So never be disappointed with everything that's, you know, we're listening to and watching in the news. Never be discouraged by all these lockdowns that we're having at our borders. we have found, at least for my family and I, we have found here in Fiji that it's been a blessing, really. It's been a blessing because for once, I'm not traveling as much as I used to for work, and I have more quality time now with my children, not only my children, with my siblings and my parents. And I also have quality time to engage with the community. For instance, just last week I was invited to attend this prayer breakfast with my sister, and we ended up ministering through song. We took our guitar and we sang there. I wouldn't have been able to do that if there was no lockdown to the borders, and the diary was such that I should have been traveling back to this year. So, whatever situation, do not be discouraged by whatever we're facing and going through right now, wherever you may be in the world. Always look at things through God's eyes, because His word says that, whatever the devil means to harm us, He always turns it around for His good and for our good. And, His word never fails. So I just want to wish everybody that's watching this program the very best, and keep safe and healthy, be positive, and continue connecting to Dr. T for more encouragement, which we all need.
Absolutely.
That's about it for me.
Oh, VAKALEVU. Thank you so much, Silipa, for your words of empowerment, and I think that is really the basis of this platform, to empower everyone and anyone who gets to listen to this video. As you rightly say, there's a lot of issues that everyone is facing, not once, twice, maybe 3 or 4 issues at the same time. And it's not going to get any easier. It's going to get harder. But I think, as you've highlighted, in the Word of God, the importance of, living a simple life, be grateful for everything, because definitely there will be issues that will be thrown at us, left, right, and center, but it's up to us how you want to embrace life. And again, as you said, the gift of life is something that all of us take for granted. You're absolutely right. And I think now with this pandemic, it's allowed us to slow down and think of what's important.
Important, exactly.